Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for joining us on this demo. Today, we're simply going to cover sort of getting set up for the new season and getting you kick-started for everything going forward. As I'm aware that some of you guys will probably have fixtures as early as this weekend. So yeah, we'll cover a whole host of different things. And as always, if you've got any questions along the way, just pop them in the Q&A section and we'll have pauses as we go through and I'll answer some of those questions and come back to a few different areas. Right, so what we're going to cover is essentially we're going to cover obviously registering your new members. So obviously that's getting the new people on board that have joined the club, as well as updating existing members. We're then going to go over setting up your new season, getting everything ready for that. And then tied in with that is obviously connecting to your competitions, and then again, managing online payments. So that's getting your match fees ready and your membership ready for the new season. So what's changed since last season for you guys? So we've recently began to roll out the V7 website template upgrade, which I'm sure some of you will have seen. That's going to be a slow rollout as we go along. Quite a lot of it's already there. The main pages that I'm sure you'll be seeing have already gone live, which is a nice new look and feel. It's definitely a nice upgrade from the V6. The next one is obviously, some of you will already remember this if you've used it already, but there's a capacity limit set on ticket and tour products now. So essentially what that means is that if you've got, let's say, a sportsman's dinner, you can set that you can only fit 200 members at the club into the clubhouse for the dinner. So you can put a cap on it at that. It just means that you're never going to oversell anything like that and then have to issue refunds, of course. So off the back of that as well, we've also got managing cards and subscriptions. So that essentially means that members can actually update their cards on record so that none of their subscription payments will then fail due to the card being expired. So it's a nice new release, keeps everything nice and tidy for you guys as a club, and also hopefully stops quite a few of those failed payments going through that you may experience. We've also had the club app sort of release and a bit of an update on it. So essentially what's happened here at Pitch Hero is that we've brought the iOS app and the Android app all under one roof. And it basically just means that everything's going to be a little bit quicker, a little bit better in terms of getting new releases out, getting fixes out. So you guys will definitely see a sort of an update and a benefit coming down the line with that. And the last one is refunding payments via the Pitch Hero dashboard. Again, some of you may have seen this towards the back end of last season, but if you guys use Stripe as a payment provider, what you can now do is actually refund payments via Pitch Hero instead of having to go directly into Stripe. So if you want to get in touch with Pitch Hero to have a chat through anything, obviously you've got the support team who are always on hand to help. Very good team, very quick in response time. So that's support@pitchhero.com. And then additionally to that, you've also got the option of talking with an account manager. So you can see the link there that you can book a demo through, or you can just email them directly. As I'm sure most of you will have the email for either myself or Ryan. So kickstarting your new season. These are just the sort of things that we're going to actually run through the different sections. So obviously we've got updating the access for your admins. We've got adding the new season, migrating your players up and down age groups, as well as coaches and the team admins. Then obviously connecting to a competition, inviting your new members, updating your registration form, news, and then also it goes on to the payments element of it. And then you've just got the little bits in terms of the front end of the website in terms of updating your sponsors and updating the team homepages just to make sure they all show as you'd expect. Lovely. So just a little bit of sort of what we're going to go into on each element of it and things to look out for. So in terms of updating admin access, it's for you guys is make sure that all your coaches, new and old, club officials now have the relevant access. So obviously that's webmaster or team admin access for those relevant teams so they can then do the work that's required from them. We always find that the best websites are those that are shared in the responsibility. So as you can see, as I've listed down here, 30 plus admins is quite common. So 2 or 3 per team, just split up that work and it just makes everyone's lives a little bit easier and a little bit less work on sort of one person. We usually say 1 primary webmaster and then 4 to 5 full webmasters is fairly apt. However, you guys obviously can have as many as you actually want. If you feel like you need 10, you can have 10. And again, split that workload. Again, adding your new season, it's nice and easy. We'll go over that, creating the new season. And it just essentially creates a nice little archive for everything from the previous season to sit in, and then anything going forward to then be placed against. obviously migrating players, so that's moving your players and coaches up to the next age group, and then it also allows you to do a little bit of like a cull almost, and a bit of tidy up in terms of removing players from old age groups that they may not be on there anymore. We'll always say to you, do not rename the age group. Don't just rename them as they go up the age groups. The way that I'll show you is the cleaner, tidier way to do it. And it also keeps everything nice and neat with the archiving of seasons as well. Connected to your league, so there's a few benefits with that. Obviously, your fixtures, results, league tables, the scores are pulled through as and when they're updated. So there's no more adding individual fixtures or uploading spreadsheets for you guys. Obviously, that's another sort of time constraint on you guys that's taken away in terms of you can just then go and search for your league, connect to the competition, the fixtures will then pull through. So yeah, that's that. And then additionally to that is obviously inviting new players and parents. So you've got the invite tool, which is on the membership database. You can post links onto the website in news items, news articles to get out there. Obviously, those news articles can then go out to social media, so Facebook and Twitter, and then really push out sort of the registration for the new season, potentially capture any new members that may be looking to come on board. Additionally, you should also ask all your club teams, officials and the admins, captains, etc., to share the registration link. So whether that's through the membership database or via the manager app. So obviously you can send the sort of join link via the manager app, and that can go in straight into WhatsApp group chats, Facebook Messenger, so on and so forth. So you can really sort of push that out there and make sure all the information that you guys are collecting for this new season is up to date and as you'd expect. So obviously there's updated news. We've just got sort of a few news articles here, 12 of them, that you guys could potentially look to add in. Just things we see that clubs put on and they seem to get quite good traction. So I won't run through all of them, but obviously sort of key ones are any new players you've got on. That's always a big one for your clubs to see. Your registrations that have gone live, membership fees, so on and so forth. Welcome for the new members. And then another one, a big one that we see gets quite a lot of traction, is just a thank you to the volunteers that are putting in the time, whether it's the team admins, the committee members, so on and so forth. It always seems to go down well with clubs. Then next, we've got the registration forms. So obviously it's going to be checking through fields, removing any unnecessary fields just to make everything a bit neater. You can then obviously test the sign up via the registration form element. And then again, you can send out a prompt for members to update their personal information if they're already on there. And then they can then go in and obviously you'll have a nice, clean, fresh set of data for this upcoming season. Next up is obviously the payment side of it. So we've got the membership payments, which is shopping payments, and also there's the match fees, which is the next slide. So obviously with the payments, it's a sort of drive for the club, which helps collect a bit more revenue. The reporting element of it obviously is a big help. So the steps are simply connect to a payment provider account, which is obviously the bank account, and you create your products. You can then choose from a variety of different sort of variants on the product. You can create annual, recurring products, monthly recurring products, one-off payments, so on and so forth. You can then send that out to your members and track every payment in terms of the non-payers as well, and just really keep on top of it and never let a payment go and miss. Match fees again, similar in terms of you create the product, you can then obviously match by match send out those fees and then keep on top of everything. We'll go through all that stuff as and when as a bit of a refresher, as I'm sure some of you will be fairly fluent with it and have used it quite a lot, but we'll cover that for anyone who wants to see. Just something that we want to cover is actually the new transaction fees that are being rolled out from the 2nd of October. So this is available if you're using Stripe as the payment provider. And essentially what's happened is at Pitch Area, we've brokered a deal with Stripe, which basically gets you guys a much better rate on your transaction fees. So as you can see here that I've listed, the Elite package was 3.4% plus 20p. It's going down to 2.6% plus 18p. And the Ultimate package was 2.4% plus 20p, and it's now 2% plus 18p. So they've dropped off a fair amount, obviously saving you guys every little penny, which is a nice little addition for you guys, obviously. And in turn, with that, if you're a VAT registered club, you can get an even better saving. So if you want to get in touch with myself or Ryan to have a discussion about that, if you are VAT registered, then we can definitely cover that. Next one is your club sponsors, obviously getting that on there, getting the sponsors pushed out to the club and onto the website is a big thing. Obviously it drives more revenue for the club in terms of bringing in a bit more. You can then sell to your sponsors saying you're getting this much traffic to the website. why wouldn't you want to be a sponsor of our club? Obviously, we're going to go through removing old sponsors, adding new sponsors in, and then obviously down here, I've mentioned you can promote new sponsors with news items. You can also do sort of an image. You could do a video interview if you wanted to sort of really get what they're sort of looking to help the club with, things of that nature. And also, additionally, you can send out an email introducing the new sponsors as well, if they're offering any offers or vouchers to your members. The last one is the team pages. So obviously, as and when everything's updated, you can then go in and make changes to the information you've got on team pages, training times, contacts, so on and so forth, and just make sure that every club has got, every team within the club has got the look and feel that you're looking for. And lastly is for you guys to have a great season. So what we'll do now is we'll go through the areas that we've sort of covered on the admin dashboard, and then obviously I'll stop a couple of phases into it, answer any questions that we may have, and then we'll keep it rolling from there. Lovely. So the first area that we've got is obviously updating the access. So if you guys are wanting to see who's got access to what areas at the club, a simple way is if you go into settings down here, and then you go access control, and then you can go to manage access. What you'll then see is a list of everyone sort of at the club who's got the webmaster and team admin roles for a variety of different areas. So that gives you an overview. Obviously, if you're the primary webmaster, you can then remove some people from these areas if you want to, customize it down. So the treasurer can only have access to, let's say, membership payments, match fees, so on and so forth, rather than being able to update the design of the website and the site content. So you can tailor that, and you can get an overview on this page. If you're then wanting to do changes to that, if we just go into the membership database, obviously, as I'm sure some of you will be aware, you can then run filters on it, and you can actually see who's got what roles. So as we wait for this to load, we'll just come into the roles here. Obviously, we'll just untick that, and then we'll go team admins and webmasters, and then you'll get a list of who's got what role. And then from there, obviously, you can then go through and tailor it as and when you want to. So it's a nice and easy process to actually do. So if I just use myself as the example here, I'll click into my account, and then we'll go roles here. What we'll be able to see is a whole host of different roles. And then if I go, I'm no longer actually the team admin of the first 11, I'm going to be team admin of the second 11. You then just select that and then remove the first 11 from there, hit save, and then everything's good. That's updated that team admin access form, obviously myself in this case, but you guys can do that for the coaches across the club should you need to. Additionally, any webmasters that you think don't need to be on there anymore, you can do the exact same thing and then remove the webmaster role from them should you need to, whether you've had a change of committee or anything like that. Lovely stuff. The next one is simply just adding a new season. So obviously, like I say, adding a new season then creates a season archive. That season archive will then sit and hold all the information from the previous season. So that's fixtures, results, training sessions, news articles, photo albums, all that stuff that's connected to those teams. That'll sit on those teams within those season archives. And then people can go back and reminisce as they get a little bit older. So to create the new season, it's nice and simple. You go settings, seasons, and then in the top right here, what you'll do is you'll go in, and we're not going to call it 2024/2024. We'll just call it 2024 season. And then I'll put it as the 1st of Jan to the 31st of December. But for you guys, you'll probably want to put it from potentially the 1st of August until sort of the end of the season date, or the 31st of July is always a good one just to put it to. And then you just hit save. And there you go. That's your new season archive added. Nice and easy, nice and simple, nothing complicated about it. And then that allows you to obviously have all that information stored against that season record and archive. So that's sort of simple things out of the way. The next one is moving your players up and down age groups, so migrating them. Obviously, that's players and coaches as well. This is, again, quite a simple process. It shouldn't take you more than sort of a minute or so for each team. So what you do is you go into roles here. I'll just select players for this instance. And then I'm going to go for my match fees team here. And then we'll get a list of these players in here. We'll then tick them. And then what we do is go into roles, edit roles. And then first off, we're going to remove the role of player for the match fees team. We'll hit OK. And then next we're going to add a role, and that's going to be player 4. Then we'll move into the men's first 11, let's say. Then we'll hit OK. And then all we do from there is hit save. And then once that's loaded, what we'll then find is obviously they've all gone out of that team. So if we unselect the match fees team and go into the men's first team for the players, we'll then see those members in there. Nice and easy, nice and simple. The one thing to look out for, I will mention, is just start from the top down. So go under 18s and work your way down, because obviously you don't want to be pushing your under 6s into like the under 8s and then have a cluster in the under 8s and try and work out who's been moved up and who then needs to go up to the next age group. If you start at the top, you then push the under 18s into, let's say, the seniors, and then your 16s can go into the 18s, 14s cleanly into the 16s, so on and so forth. It just keeps things nice and smooth, nice and simple. Lovely stuff. Any sort of questions on that side of thing? I know it's quite sort of the simple things for people that have done it, but it's always something handy for any new webmasters or clubs that we've got on board. So any questions we've got about that, I'll just sort of give it a brief minute. If you want to ask anything, put it in the Q&A section, and then we'll move on from there. Lovely stuff. No questions as of yet, which hopefully means that everything's nice and clear for you guys. So next up is connecting your teams to a competition. Obviously, once you've migrated everyone up, sorry, we've just had a question come in. I'll pause for a second then. They've just come in. Right. First one is, I assume, based on your comment about working from the top down, there's no button or way to undo. Yeah, correct. So obviously, once you've pushed people up, you can't just press like undo and then put everyone back in the team. It is sort of strict change. It'll sit there, and it's just a case of, obviously, as I say, working from the top down. It just means that when you move people up, you've got clear identification of who's actually gone into what teams then. So Ash has asked if players can look over previous seasons. If so, how? Yeah. So they literally just go back into the teams, the relevant team on the website, and they just select the, obviously, season archive for the year they were in that team. And then, yeah, they can see everything from that year. Matthew has asked if you move the players, then there are 2 issues. I can see one, officials for the team need moving to news/images, etc. 2, teams are not the same year by year, and 7 red. Yeah, so on the first point, officials for the teams need moving. Yeah, they will do. That's just the same process. Obviously, I just demonstrated the players move up. You'll also do the officials and team admins, etc., in the same process. And then obviously, if you're wanting to move news articles and images up, they'll sit on the season archive for that team for that year. That's why the archive's there. It'll sit next to that year for that record. And then people will be able to go back and look at that specific year they were in the under 7 red, like you've mentioned there. And they'll actually be able to see it and go back and have a bit of a reminisce. The second one is teams are not the same each year. Yeah, so even if they are changing names, if it's under 7 red and then they move up and it's the under 8 blue or something, you can then rename the under 7 red to the sort of flexibility of what the under 7s is becoming. Same with the under 8s. It's just a case of, I accept that the names will probably change. It's a case of having an archive that's there, and it's not a case of moving everyone up and then getting to the under 18s and having a squashed amount of, let's say, 15 teams after a few years that are just in the under 18s, and then you have to completely remove them and there's no history of them on the site. So what I would always suggest do is migrate them up to that age group, and then if you just need to tweak the name from under 8s blue to under 8 purple, something like that, then I would always do it that way. Bruce has asked, presume you can select players rather than the whole group. Yes, you can, Bruce. Yeah, it's just a case of, obviously in here, once you've filtered, you can then just select the relevant players by ticking next to their name if you need to do so. If you need to run certain filters and fields on it as well, if you want to see date of birth, things of that nature, then you can do so by running the fields there. So if I just, where's it gone? Date of birth. If I just select date of birth there, you'll obviously then see the date of birth in here. And then you can make the selections based off that should you need to, just by example. Cool. Right, we'll move on now into the connecting to teams. So obviously once you've done all this, then it's just a case of pushing the people into relevant teams, and then obviously getting the competitions connected so the fixtures, etc., can pull through. So if I just go into the men's first 11 here, yeah, just waiting for this to load up. Cool, that's in there. Obviously, we've still got an active season. If you go into manage competitions here, you can then, it'll sit in the historic competitions in here, because obviously all the work will have been done on the back end to remove that. Obviously, this has been set up previously for cricket, so I'll just remove that. And then it's a case of going to join competition, and then you've got a variety of different things in here. So this shows as one to connect to here. So if I go into connect here, it'll then connect to that competition for you. And then if I go into the fixtures here, obviously there's no fixture on this, just it's a test one. They'll pull through in there, and then you've got all the match center that you can then run through, as well as the apps as well, on the manager app as well. That'll then create a schedule and a calendar for the managers, as well as for the members on their Picture Club app, so they can then set their availability and see when the fixtures are for the upcoming season. So that side of things, obviously nice and easy, nice and simple. Nothing too complicated about that. It's just a case of working through each team and getting the relevant competition connected. So the thing to look out for is, if you don't have a competition that shows up, then simply just get in touch with the support team. So that's support@pitchera.com. And if you send them a link to the competition that you're in, if it's got the fixtures up on a website, they can then go in and pull that through for you, obviously saving you guys some admin work. Lovely stuff. The next process that we're going to go through is the updating of your registration forms. So the registration forms questions sit under fields, under membership, and then obviously you've got these black ones here, which are just like your standards. They'll be on everybody's account. Everyone will have those questions answered. And then these blue ones, they're the custom ones that the club can add in. So obviously it's just a case year by year of literally going through and working out if something's not up to date. So obviously, like you can see here, that's the 22-23 acceptance for the terms and conditions. Obviously, you can either edit that and change it to 23.4, or you can delete it, add something new in, and then from there, you can then send a prompt out via the membership database for people to then update their information on there. Obviously, it is just a case of obviously working through, like I say, making sure everything's as you need for the new season, making amendments where you need to as well. So as I mentioned about prompting members to update their information, if we just head back over to the membership database, what that simply looks like is you can then tick your members again in the top left box here. If we just select them all, then you just hit that prompt to update information there. And then what that'll do is it'll send a push notification and an email out to the members for them to update their information for the new season. And then, like I say, it all comes back to you guys having fresh information, a clean set of data for the new season, and then everything's as and what you'd expect. So the next area is obviously inviting your members. So you can simply add your members in through the membership database. You can use this add button here, and that obviously just takes you through the process of actually adding the relevant information for them. So like first name, last name, email address, date of birth, so on and so forth. And then once they've been added in, you can then simply tick on a member here like this, and then you just hit this invite button. So that invite button then will generate an email. You can then fill out a bit of copy in there as a bit of a welcome to the club, and then you hit invite, sends them an email. They can then go in, see the email, press join, takes them through to the join process for the website. It's nice and easy, and again, nice and simple as always. The other ways that you can invite members to join is via this import section. So you can import members en masse. So obviously, if you want to do it one by one, you've got the add member section there. However, if you've got, let's say, 40, 50 new joiners this year, you can then go to this import section, and it's simply just a case of uploading a spreadsheet. So you can upload the spreadsheet in the relevant format for what pitch area requires, and then yeah, everyone's in, and then you can just go in and obviously hit the invite button and send an invite out to those guys. The third option is, as I mentioned earlier, you can send invites out via the manager app, which go directly to WhatsApp group chats, Facebook Messenger, obviously email, etc. So they're your three different ways of inviting your new members and just getting everyone on board for the new season. I'll again take a quick pause before we move on to sort of the different areas of payments and news articles, etc. And if you've got any questions, obviously, like I say, throw them in the Q&A section and we'll get those answered for you. Right, so we've got a couple of questions that have come in here. I'll start with the one from Matthew, just it's relating to the inviting members. So it says, we're telling them to download the app and connect to the club directly to reduce admin. Not a bad shout. Parent show is registered when they sign up and they can select their child. However, do children remain as unregistered or should they register? So they should remain as unregistered. Essentially, the telltale between registered and unregistered is simply just an email address being added. The impact for it is essentially if they're registered, then the parent will have less control over the child's account. Essentially, we would always say the member should only be registered, or sorry, the child should only be registered if they are genuinely in control of making payments when they're going to be turning up to, if they're going to be turning up to training sessions, games, etc. So yeah, hopefully that explains that for you, Matthew. Someone said, I had an issue this season where the fixtures came through as differently to what was shown on the FA full time. Why would that be the case? That's a good question. We get everything from the full-time website, so it may be a case of, as we do it quite early on, that they've then changed from the fact of what's been updated by the FA. So it may have been a case that we've just sort of grabbed the information a little bit quickly, and then things have then updated from there. So again, contact the support team and they'll be able to shed a bit of light on that for you. Peter has asked, could you quickly go over the link to the competitions one more time, please? Yep, I'll quickly go back to that for you, Peter. Just got another question in here from Mark, and then we'll jump onto it for you. Mark has asked, connecting to League and Cup fixtures. Once connected, I presume the team admins can add the venues, timings, player selection, etc. I only asked the question as to date we have made use. Yeah, that's correct. So once you've then connected, the venues, timings, selection, etc. is all on you guys to then sort of take over from there. So completely up to you guys on terms of those things. And if obviously anything changes on the fixtures as well, you can then update that as well. So if you need to postpone it and then change it to a week down the line or a midweek fixture, you can then change that as well. Lovely. We'll quickly just do the connect to a competition again for Peter. So simply you go into the relevant team, Peter, and then you hit manage competitions area here. It'll take you through to a section that you'll see a big green join competition. And then from there, what you'll then see down here is your suggested competitions based on the team name and the club name. However, if you don't find it, you can literally just search for it in here, and then there'll be a section that just says join, connect. And then you just hit connect, and then it'll take you through to a list of teams within that league. You select your team, and then jobs are good, and the fixtures will pull through for you. So hopefully that covers that for you. Lovely stuff. So Next up, we'll go to sort of the rather important area for you guys, I'm sure, in terms of the fee collections. So that's obviously membership and match fees, getting that set up for the new season, the different ways that you can potentially look to do it. So if you're obviously a new club setting up, then it's a case of setting up from scratch and working out what's good for you. If you need a bit of assistance with that and you want to go through the options in a bit more detail, then you can just contact the support team, which again, support@pitchero.com, and just say for the attention of Will, and then I can give you a call and we can actually go through things a little bit more in depth and run you through your options. So if you're sort of looking to set up again for the new season, you'll go into shop and payments and products, and then what you'll be able to see is a list of the previous seasons products. Obviously, you can then do with a few different things with these. Obviously, the key thing to do is obviously make sure that everyone's paid up, so you've not got anyone sat in this not paid. And then from there, you can then look to archive the product. So essentially, that just takes it off the shop, and then you can set up for the new season. So if you know what you'd set up the previous season works very well, and you sort of want to replicate that and just sort of go from there, you can literally just hit clone product here. And what that does is, as it says on the tin, it literally clones that product, and you can make a few changes to it, so the names, etc. Make sure it's fresh for the 2024 season rather than 2023, and then push that through, and then create your assignments, so on and so forth. Obviously, if you're looking to archive the product by hitting that down there, you can then do so, and then create everything from scratch if you sort of want in a clean slate, and a bit of a different way from last year. So that's your option there. In terms of actually setting up a product, we'll just very quickly go through the different options that you've got. So you've got a few different options in setting up products. So you've got your membership, as well as a whole host of other things such as fundraising, sponsorship, merchandise, etc. So we'll go into the membership here for this one. You've got a step-by-step video there if you want to actually sort of take a minute and just get a brief overview of it. And then you've got a couple of questions first up. So different pricing structures on the product. So if you hit yes, it just means that you can have, like, as it says there, like senior, junior, student rates, under 18s, 16s, 14s, 12s, etc. Under one product header. Then if you want to press no, it just means that you can have one flat fee for that product. So I'll press yes on this one. And then again, is there more than one way for your member to pay for the product? Essentially what that means is, as you can see there, it allows you to have like a one-off payment option, an annual option, additionally to monthly payment options. So a bit like a payment plan or like rolling subscriptions. A lot of clubs nowadays are using the payment plans options, the installments, just to make things a little bit easier for members to sort of work out those payments. So I'll hit yes on that one again, and then we'll call this membership 24, and then we'll call this senior. It's going to be for an individual. We're going to go one-off payment, and it's going to be £200. Then you can add another option, and we'll go senior monthly, and then again individual. So we'll go installments this time, and then you can choose the sort of period you want it to be. Obviously, I've said monthly, so we're going to select monthly. But if you want it to be bi-monthly, quarterly, every 6 months, you can have freedom as to how often those payments are actually taken. So go into that again. Well, here it's £200. You can include initial payment if you want. So obviously, if you want it to be like £50 up front, and then £15 rolling for 10 months, you can do so. Or if you just want it to be, by example, £20 over 10 months, you can do that as well. And then the next one here is you can actually delay the first payment. So that's the first installment payment. You can delay that. So if you set your product up now and you go, we don't actually want that to be taken until, let's say, the 1st of October, you can do that and just push it down the line a little bit. Or you can have it obviously taken on the date that it's been purchased. So that's obviously sort of a quick whip through. As I say, if you want to run through the options a bit further, how it can benefit you guys as a club, then feel free to just drop support an email and say for the attention of Will, and then we can get something set up and go through it a bit further. Obviously, you've then got the choice of payment providers. So it's a case of setting up an account with one or both of them. You've got GoCardless and Stripe. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, Stripe is going to be the cheap one come October 2nd, as the fees are dropping off quite substantially. So you guys are going to get a benefit from being with Stripe. Obviously, if you wanted to do sort of direct debit payments as well, you can always go through GoCardless if you want to, but those fees will be slightly more expensive for the club, just to make you aware. In this case, I'll just select Stripe, You can then put a description on the product if you want to, customize it further by adding an image, make it look nice. And then it comes to this. So what availabilities have your products got? You've got available for all members to purchase, unavailable to purchase, or only assigned members can purchase. So I'd sort of really just say the main one to go for is all members can purchase it. And then you can obviously assign it to your members and keep track of everything from there. So yeah, I would say that's your sort of main one to look at. Obviously, if you've got certain products that you don't want to be widely available for everyone to see, then just put it as only assigned members can purchase. And then obviously you can assign the members that need to see it to purchase it. And then, yeah, once you've done that, you can create the product. And then from there, it's a case of going through and assigning your members the relevant products that they need to then go through and purchase. So the sign-in is literally just go in, you've got a whole host of filters, and then you can select the relevant ones for the relevant members. The next one is match fees. So obviously getting your match fees ready for the new year. We'll go into here and press products. So you guys have got two different options with this. If your fees worked very well last year and you sort of just want to tinker with the pricing rather than have a full restructure, then you can do so. So if I just go into like the senior fee here and go to info, what you'll then be able to do is you'll see the fees here, and I can go, I want to make the starter one actually 10 quid rather than 12 quid. You hit update, and then that's updated for you. You can go through and, like I say, just change the pricing of them if the structure works for you. Or additionally, you can go through and create the product completely. So restructure it, the different pricing. If you've got, rather it being like, if you say last year you had a senior and junior fee, if you now want to have senior, junior, student, someone that's driven, so on and so forth, you can have those added in there. So that's your options for the match fees. It's nice and simple. And then it's a case of obviously just assigning it to the team, and then you've got the full functionality in terms of tracking all the payments. Right. Again, I'm just going to take a brief stop here so we can see any questions that have come in and answer those. Cool. So we've got a few questions through here. I'll just work from the top down. We've got two from Bruce to start off with, and he said, "Can you clone a product and change the section it is in?" Yep. So you can clone a product and change from membership to, I don't know, teamwear or something like that if you wanted to. So yeah, that's possible. And the next one is, if you archive a product, will it still collect funds outstanding? It will. So if it's like a subscription or installment one and it's still got 2 payments left on it, it'll still collect those payments for you. Obviously, it just means that people can't sign up to then purchase it from scratch, Bruce. So Paul, obviously asking something that's based around specifically your team. So if you just contact myself, I'll drop you my email now. And if you just contact me, we can then get a little session set up on how best to set that up for your club. So let me just send that over to you, and then yeah, just drop me an email and we can get something sorted on that for you. Emma has asked a match fees based question. So she said, we ask payment per quarter played. Is that possible here? So you can keep track of obviously everyone that's played in fixtures, and then you can either use the match fees element to like publish out match fees directly, or the other option is you can create a product within the shop which has got the quarterly fees on it, and then send it out from there. So obviously you can put the players into the match fees section on the match center, but you don't have to send out the prompt. So you could actually go through once a quarter for you guys and then actually send out those prompts for the fixtures. And then players will get like a lump sum of, I don't know, let's say 50 quid for the games that they've then played, and they can then pay that. So yeah, you've got two options on that, Emma. And again, if you want to sort of go over that in a bit more detail, how it would work, etc., then just drop me an email and we can definitely pick that up. So Matthew has asked to confirm you assign the membership product to players and it will go to their parent, but track as a player membership rather than assignment to their parents. Yeah. So basically, if you assign it to the player, it'll then notify the parent, as they've obviously got the connection there. Parent can make the payment for the player, and it will then say on your reporting, it is paid by the parent for the child. So the payment will sit next to the child record. Lovely stuff. So I'll again just wait another minute and see if we get any more questions on the payment side of things before moving over. And if not, we'll quickly move over to updating your sponsors and your team homepage before we just have sort of a brief conclusion. Lovely stuff. Right, no further questions on the payment side of things by the looks of it. So we'll quickly just go over updating sponsors and then also team pages. And then, like I say, brief conclusion, and I'll let you guys get back to your lunch hour. Cool. So sponsors is obviously in the site content. It's, again, just a simple case of you actually click into your sponsors, you'll get a list of the sponsors in there. And it's, again, just working through who needs to be on the site. So if you know that some of your sponsors have then moved on, you can literally just go in and delete the sponsor. Or the other option you've got is you can edit placements or edit the sponsor. So by example, if your sponsor's got a new logo, you can then obviously add that in. Or the other option, again, is the location. So if you've got a sponsor that's gone from being one of your team sponsors to actually wanting to be a site-wide sponsor, you can then just sort of toggle that between them. Or if you've moved from a team sponsor and want to also sponsor one of the players, then it's just a case of going through and actually selecting them. So that's nice and easy, nice and simple in that side of things, just to keep on top of. And then the other one is obviously updating the team homepages, just to make sure that when people are actually visiting the website and looking at those teams, that it's got the relevant information on, because you may want to include who's the coach, who's the best contact, so on and so forth. So if we just go into the relevant teams under here, and then you literally just go to homepage, what you'll then have is obviously the page title. You can then change the content that shows up in here, like I say, contact number, email address, variety of different things, add a new team photo, obviously with the team moving up an age group, etc. Just make that sort of look and feel as and how you'd want to, and everything to be in order for you guys. So that's all obviously nice and easy, nice and simple on that side of things. So yeah, that's most of that. I say most of, that's all that we've got down to cover. So the one thing we'll do is I'll just give it a sort of a minute for questions to come in, and then have a brief conclusion. The only other thing really to make you guys obviously aware of is that with the transaction fees that have been coming in, there's been a bit of a price restructure. So with that price restructure, obviously there's a whole host of different benefits for you guys. Obviously, like I say, there's the transaction fees that are reducing, but there's also prime sort of opportunity for you guys to actually upgrade packages, and with those upgrades the sort of benefits can grow even more. So you've actually got lower transaction fees if you can upgrade to the ultimate package, by example, you can lock in prices for 12 months, keep it at that sort of lower price with all the benefits attached to it. Additionally, as well, if you're upgrading, we're going to offer a whole host of different gifts along the way. So there's like first aid kits for you guys. There's coaching material that we're going to be publishing out as we've been working with one of our partners to actually get some videos put together. And it's a whole sort of system that's ready, made for you guys to sort of tap into, and hopefully push your coaches up to the next level as well as offering other discounts on a variety of different products. One of them being obviously our Pitch Hero GPS product that's gone live, which is a massive thing. So there's team bundles, player bundles. So if anyone's sort of wanting to hear further on that, then it's a case of contacting the sales team, and you can do that through the website. So if you go to pitchhero.com, there's a section for the GPS area, and you can actually get in touch directly with the sales team and have a conversation through how it can benefit your club, or if you're just sort of wanting it to be sort of an individual tracker and to keep on top of your performance, then you can do so. It's a really good system. It's very, very, very affordable, and it's designed to make you guys obviously benefit you guys, help improve performance and recovery as well. So they're sort of the key upgrades and features that you get from it. So obviously, if you sort of want to go through any of that, or you just have any questions about it, then as always, contact myself or my colleague Ryan, and then we can just have a chat about how things can best benefit you guys. So as I say, going to wait for a couple of questions to come through here, and if you off the back of that, we'll obviously answer them, and then I'll leave you guys obviously for the remainder of your lunch hour to hopefully enjoy sort of the last 5 minutes or so of it. Right, we've got just seems to be 4 questions to finish this off here. So we've got Peter, who's asked, can we have a sponsor listed on the newsletter? You can definitely link a sponsor in, Peter, if you want to. So obviously you can include their image, their logo, link to their website, so on and so forth. Yeah, you can definitely include them in if you want to. John has asked, a bit unrelated, but preseason friendlies, is there a way to exclude them from stats like the played/1 top scorer? If it's all in the same season archive, I believe not. However, I'm sure the support team might have a bit of an ingenious workaround for you, John. So if you want to just contact them on support@pitchhero.com, I'm sure they'll have a whole host of different ways that you can potentially look into doing that. Matthew said, I can't see where you delete a match fee product. Yeah, so you can't delete match fees as a product due to essentially the ongoing sort of tracking of payments for those match fees, just so you can then come through and actually sort of have a review of them, a bit of an overview as and when you're going through. The intention as well is sort of that the match fees will stay as one, so you create like a match fee product, and then you just amend the pricing as and when it's going through, to be honest with you, Matthew. That's sort of the main intention of it, hence why you can't delete it, as well as keeping up to date with those payees. John has said, second unrelated question, for the social media match updates, is there a way to change the image that gets sent with it? So are you meaning the player image, or are you meaning the sort of sorry, what's the word I'm looking for here? The like templated image that goes out as like the background with the, I'm trying to remember what they're called now. Social card, sorry, there we go. Yeah, the social card. If you could just let us know that, John, then I'll be able to answer for you. The card image, no, that's preset. So it's based off of like the club primary and secondary colour, by example, but there's no way to actually change that. Emma has asked, when selecting a match for, say, the under 11, will the parent be able to select their children that are available? So yeah, basically what happens with that, Emma, is a case of, obviously you'll have the link to the child. Within that app, they'll actually have their own name as the parent listed at the top, as well as their kids' names. They toggle through their kids, and then they'll see the schedule for their kids' games, training sessions, and they just set their availability for that. We've got an anonymous one here that said, you mentioned in the intro you discussed quick ways of resolving. So yeah, we're not going to cover that. That wasn't something we cover. It's just a new feature that's been live. If you want something to go over that, then get in contact with support, which is again support@pitcharea.com, and they'll be more than happy to help you with that. So got another one from an anonymous member, so slightly off topic for this season, but the person with super admin permissions for our social media is no longer associated with the club. Right, if it's based around the club directly, then again, contact the support team, as it's not worth us sort of discussing direct club matters on this. So yeah, contact the support team and they can help you with that. Adele, you've asked the same question again there, Adele. Again, contact the support team directly with what you've been receiving, and they can then help from that. Paul has asked, can the photos on the scorer go back to colour, not black and white? Again, if you want to contact the support team with a bit of a feature request, you can do so. They're always on hand to help. When news items go onto the website, picture and text, this also goes out on email. Can the picture be shown on the email? So are you talking about the header image or images that are embedded in the article? Because the answer, I believe, should be yes. So if you're having issues with that, again, I know I've said it a few times now, but the support team will be able to sort of look into that further and advise you on that. Bruce has asked, is there a plan to try and reduce go-cardless costs? I'm sure there probably is. Obviously, the big one at the minute has been Stripe. So if you guys start using go-cardless, I would always push you to potentially look into switching over to Stripe, because obviously you'll get the benefit of the reduced rate as and when that starts to roll out from the 2nd of October, Bruce. Cool. Doesn't appear to be any more questions, so I shan't take up any more of your time. Thanks for everyone for joining us. Obviously, this webinar will be sent round as you guys have attended it. It'll also be sent to you as a link, so you can send it on to other people at the club that may need to see it. As always, support team are on hand to help, which is support@pitcharea.com, or you can come and contact myself directly, which is w.dunkley, that's DUNKERLEY, @pitcharea.com. And then we can obviously go through any questions that you've got. We can set up a call and yeah, get you sort of really ready and raring for the season up ahead. So again, thanks for joining, guys, and hope you have a lovely rest of your day.